In the heart of India's legal landscape lies a landmark case, Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur versus Durga Charan Hansdah. This case, decided by the highest court of the land, delves into the intricate relationship between modern law and age-old customs. It all began with a marriage. Durga Charan Hansdah, a government employee, entered into wedlock with Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur. Their union, seemingly ordinary, soon became entangled in a complex legal battle. Years later, Durga Charan Hansdah, allegedly without dissolving his first marriage, married another woman. Dr. Kujur, upon discovering this, took legal action, accusing her husband of bigamy, the act of marrying one person while already legally married to another. This act, considered a serious offense under Indian law, set the stage for a legal showdown. The case of Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur versus Durga Charan Hansdah was not just a personal dispute, it had far-reaching implications. It raised crucial questions about the applicability of the Hindu Marriage Act, a law governing Hindu marriages, to tribal communities in India. The case also brought to light the delicate balance between statutory law, as enacted by the legislature, and customary law, practiced by communities for generations. Bigamy, the act of entering into a marriage while already being legally married, is strictly prohibited under Indian law. This prohibition reflects the value Indian society places on monogamous relationships and the sanctity of marriage. The law recognizes that allowing individuals to have multiple spouses could lead to various complications, including confusion over inheritance, property rights, and the legitimacy of children. The Indian Penal Code, 1860, a comprehensive code criminalizing various offenses, deals specifically with bigamy under Section 494. This section prescribes punishment for individuals who commit bigamy, emphasizing the seriousness with which the Indian legal system views this offense. Bigamy is considered not only a betrayal of trust and a violation of marital vows, but also a crime against society. The law on bigamy in India is applicable to all citizens, regardless of their religion. While different personal laws govern marriage, divorce, and succession for different religious communities in India, the prohibition on bigamy is universal. This reflects the secular nature of Indian law and its commitment to upholding certain fundamental principles across all religions and communities. The Hindu Marriage Act of 1955 stands as a cornerstone of family law for Hindus in India. This legislation brought about significant reforms, outlawing practices like polygamy and child marriage. It laid down a clear framework for marriage, divorce, and other matrimonial issues, aiming to create a more equitable and just system for all Hindus. Central to the Hindu Marriage Act is the principle of monogamy. The Act explicitly states that a Hindu marriage is only valid if neither party has a living spouse at the time of marriage. This provision aims to prevent situations where individuals may exploit the institution of marriage for personal gain or convenience. The Act further reinforces the concept of a singular, legally recognized marriage by outlining the conditions for a valid marriage. These conditions include the attainment of a certain age, the mental capacity to consent to marriage, and the absence of prohibited degrees of relationship between the parties. By laying down these conditions, the Act seeks to ensure that marriages are entered into freely and with full understanding and consent. Section 4. Tradition meets modernity, customary law, and its place. India, a land of diverse cultures and traditions, recognizes the role of customary law in certain spheres of life. Customary law, passed down through generations, often governs matters like marriage, inheritance, and social practices within specific communities. It represents the lived experiences and values of these communities. However, the Indian legal system recognizes that customary practices cannot always override statutory law, especially when they conflict with fundamental rights or principles of equality and justice. The Constitution of India, the supreme law of the land, guarantees certain fundamental rights to all citizens, and any custom or practice that infringes upon these rights can be struck down by the courts. In the context of marriage and bigamy, the courts have consistently held that while customary practices may have existed in the past, the enactment of laws like the Hindu Marriage Act overrides any such customs. The courts have emphasized that the goal of the law is to ensure uniformity and equality before the law, and allowing customary practices to prevail over statutory law could lead to inconsistencies and discrimination. Section 5. Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur versus Durga Charan Hansdah. The case unfolds. The case of Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur versus Durga Charan Hansdah unfolded against this backdrop of evolving legal principles and the ongoing dialogue between statutory and customary law. Dr. Kujur, armed with the provisions of the Hindu Marriage Act, approached the court, seeking justice for what she believed was a violation of her marital rights. Her case hinged on the argument that her husband's subsequent marriage was illegal as it violated the principle of monogamy enshrined in the Act. Durga Charan Hansdah, on the other hand, argued that he belonged to a tribal community that had long practiced customary forms of marriage. He claimed that his actions were in accordance with these customs and that the Hindu Marriage Act did not apply to him. His defense rested on the recognition of customary law within the Indian legal framework and its applicability to tribal communities. The stage was set for a legal battle that would test the boundaries of personal law, customary practices, and the overarching principles of justice and equality. Pause 2S. Section 6. Judgment and its impact. The court held that the second marriage of Durga Charan Hansdah with Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur was void under the Hindu Marriage Act, 1955, as the first marriage was still subsisting. The court emphasized the importance of adhering to the legal provisions regarding marriage and bigamy in India. Pause 2S. This judgment not only reaffirmed the principles laid down in the Hindu Marriage Act, but also highlighted the complex interplay between statutory law and customary practices. It underscored the judiciary's role in balancing these competing forces while ensuring that justice prevails. Pause 2S. The ruling had far-reaching implications for the recognition of customary marriages in India. It prompted a re-evaluation of how customary laws are perceived and applied, especially in tribal communities. The case became a landmark, serving as a reference point for future disputes involving the intersection of personal laws and customary practices. Pause 2S. For Dr. Kujur, this judgment was a vindication of her rights and a testament to her resilience in seeking justice. For Durga Charan Hansdah, it was a reminder of the need to navigate the legal landscape carefully, respecting both customary traditions and statutory obligations. Pause 2S. The case of Dr. Surajmani Stella Kujur versus Durga Charan Hansdah remains a significant chapter in the annals of Indian legal history, reflecting the ongoing evolution of marriage laws and the quest for equality and justice in a diverse and pluralistic society. Pause 3S, end of section 6. Thank you for watching.